friends, and welcome back to my homestead. Today we're in the kitchen because we're making homemade elderberry syrup. And you ask me, why do you make your own syrup? Why can't you just go and buy it? You know, recently we didn't have any and I had to go and buy a small bottle of 4 ounces. And because it was organic, I think I paid like almost $11. Now that's crazy because we went through it in just a few short days for my whole family. So it is much more frugal to make it at home. If you have fresh elderberries, and this is a good time to harvest them or forage for them, if you can still find them. This is a good time to do it. It's about middle of October right now. But all of my elderberries have been eaten by birds and deer. They got to it before me, so I've got none. So I ended up ordering some from an organic herbal store, and I have these beautiful, very, very clean elderberries, no sticks, very, very good product. I'm super, super happy. So again, when you see elderberry, especially organic elderberries being sold at a lower price, be careful. Very often they are filled with sticks and you're really paying for sticks. So let me tell you my recipe using dried elderberries for the syrup. Okay, we're going to need 3/4 cup of dried elderberries, 3 cups of water, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of clove powder. In my case, I'm going to be using whole cloves. Then you can use 8 or 9 little cloves. Then we're going to need 1 tablespoon of fresh ginger. In my case, I'm using dried ginger. And that means I'm going to need 1 teaspoon of dried ginger. And then 1 cup of raw honey. I have this beautiful honey. It's already crystallizing, but it's fine. It's absolutely amazing. This honey is from my papa, from his bees. He's an amazing beekeeper. So I'm very blessed to have raw honey. So many medicinal factors to that. So let me show you how I'm going to making the syrup, and I'll tell you why I'm making it, what it's good for. So let's get going, okay? So it's pretty simple. I'm going to be taking a large saucepan. I'm going to be putting my elderberries in there. And I'm making a big batch, so don't mind my amounts. It's because I have a big batch. Okay? I'm going to cover everything with water. I'm going to add my spices that I have. Okay? Again, I'm putting a lot because I'm making a big batch. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to put everything in a stove. I'm going to mix it all together. I'm going to put it in the stove and I'm going to cook. After it comes to boil, I'll turn the heat down and I'll cook it for about 45 minutes. It will allow the elderberries to rehydrate, all of these ingredients to marry together. Okay, so let that cook. Honey does not go into this point. Honey will be the last ingredient that I will add. Okay, so 45 minutes passed and it reduced quite a lot because the water got absorbed by the elderberries, the dried berries themselves, and it cooked for about 45 minutes. It reduced. So it smells so good here. So at this point, I turned off the heat. I'm going to put the cover back on and I'm going to let it cool off until I can strain it all. And only at that point that I'm going to add the honey. But at this point, I'm going to let it sit and cool off for a little bit. Okay, so the syrup, well, my whole entire thing actually cooled down. I just put a candy thermometer to show you that the temperature is down to 100. So at this point, I cooled it off to a point that I can now strain it all and separate the berries from the liquid. you probably have heard that saying, oh, don't take elderberry syrup when you're sick, it's going to make you sicker. And there is some truth to it. But you need to understand what is happening in the body, what process is happening, and why the elderberry is making you sicker. It's really not making you sicker. In fact, we don't die of a virus. What we die of is, or what we get sick from, is the complication that the virus causes. So from a secondary infection that people get really, really sick. And see what elderberry syrup does, it helps us to develop quick white blood cells, the little troops that are going to respond to the fact that there's an invader came into the body and they're going to attack it. And the elderberry syrup helps, or at least the elderberries, it's going to help that process to take place. So yes, we will have more white blood cells, more fighting process going on in the body. And also, I know this question will come up from you guys. The question will be, well, you know, I've heard that elderberry are actually poisonous. Yes and no. They are poisonous if we're eating them raw. It's the seed in the elderberry that has a lot of cyanide. And that cyanide, if we take them in a copious amounts, that may make us sick. But we are not eating seeds. As you can tell, I have cooked them, and cooking process neutralizes that. And also I am leaving all of the seeds right here, and I'm not going to be using them because all I need is the juice from the elderberry. Okay, the root of the elderberry plant actually contains more of the cyanide that's actually toxic. Well, some of it is also in a seed, but as you can tell, we're not eating the seeds. So let me keep squeezing all of this down, squeezing and pressing down as much to release as much of that juice into the liquid as possible. And I'll meet you. Okay, so the last step is to mix the syrup with honey. And remember, for that one batch, we needed 1 cup of raw honey. And that is the main reason why I needed to cool off the syrup so much. See, because if I added honey into a hot boiling syrup, I would have killed all of the important beneficial components of honey, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to be mixing honey into the syrup, and it's a little crystallized at this point, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of work digging, but I'm going to be putting that into my syrup and mixing it all well. And again, remember, I have to put 1 cup of honey per 1 batch of syrup, but because I made like a triple batch here, so I have to put a whole lot more honey, so this will take me a while. But I'm going to be dissolving it all, mixing it all, and I'm going to be storing them in mason jars just like this with the cover. I have a plastic cover here that I'm going to be putting. Remember always to put a label on it so you remember what it is. And I'm going to actually store it in the refrigerator. And the reason why I'm going to store it in the refrigerator is because I don't want it to go bad. I don't want it to ferment. This has to be a nice, safe place to store it. And this should last me several months, or at least it's going to last me over the winter. So let me keep mixing them all, and I'm going to show you. So I did a little bit of research to see what is the proper amount to use of this syrup. And I found some different amounts, but the average literature, I mean, the most literature says that the average amount to consume of elderberry syrup is 1 tablespoon for an adult and 1 teaspoon for a child. However, if you're not feeling well, then take that amount 4 times a day. But my family has to take tinctures and elderberry syrup every single day. So friends, this is how I make elderberry syrup. Isn't it beautiful? And I made these 3 jars. I'm gonna put them in my refrigerator, and I'm gonna use them during the winter months when it's a flu season, cold season, and whatever else, who knows, season, because that's how I'm going to protect my family during these times. So friends, I hope you are encouraged to make your own elderberry syrup. Do research, look into it, and I promise you, this way is a much cheaper way than purchasing a bottle of elderberry syrup at the store. I know they sell those chewables and they're delicious and they're fun, but sometimes they add ingredients to it that you not necessarily may want to put it in your body. So friends, I hope you are encouraged to learn about elderberry syrup and try something new.